Hi, it's bedtime. Have you brushed your teeth? Good. Now, if you'd like to subscribe before I carry on, or leave me a comment to let me know what stories you'd like to hear, that would be really great. But don't worry if not. You just settle down, close your eyes, and listen. Tonight I'm going to read more tales about Akbar and Birbal. Cooking the kishti. It was winter. The ponds were all frozen. At the court, Akbar asked Birbal, "Tell me, Birbal, will a man do anything for money?" Birbal replied, "Yes." The emperor ordered him to prove it. The next day, Birbal came to court along with a poor barman who merely had a penny left with him. His family was starving. Birbal told the king that the Brahmin was ready to do anything for the sake of money. The king ordered the Brahmin to be inside the frozen pond all through the night without any attire if he needed money. The poor Brahmin had no choice. The whole night he was inside the pond, shivering. He returned to the durbar the next day to receive his reward. The king asked, "Tell me, O poor Brahmin, how could you withstand the extreme temperature all through the night?" The innocent Brahmin replied, "I could see a faintly glowing light a kilometre away, and I withstood with that ray of light." Akbar refused to pay the Brahmin his reward, saying that he had got warm from the light and withstood the cold, and that was cheating. The poor Brahmin could not argue with him, so returned disappointed and bare-handed. Birbal tried to explain to the king, but the king was in no mood to listen. Thereafter Birbal stopped coming to the durbar and sent a messenger to the king, saying that he would come to the court only after cooking his kishti. As Birbal did not turn up, even after 5 days, the king himself went to Birbal's house to see what he was doing. Birbal lit the fire. Birbal had lit the fire and kept the pot of uncooked kishti 1 metre away from it. Akbar questioned him, "How will the kishti get cooked with the fire 1 metre away? What is wrong with you, Birbal?" Birbal, cooking the kishti, replied, "O my great king of Hindustan, when it was possible for a person to receive warmth from a light that was a kilometre away, then it is possible for this kishti, which will be a metre away from the source of heat, to get cooked." Akbar understood his mistake. He called the poor Brahmin and awarded him 2,000 gold coins. Half the reward. Mahesh Das was a citizen of the kingdom of Akbar. He was an intelligent young man. Once, when Akbar went hunting in the jungle, he lost his way. Mahesh Das, who lived in the outskirts, helped the king reach the palace. The emperor rewarded him with his ring. The emperor also promised to give him a responsible posting at his court. After a few days, Mahesh Das went to the court. The guard did not allow him to enter. Mahesh Das showed the guard the ring which the king had given him. Now the guard thought that the young man was sure to get more rewards by the king, the greedy guard agreed to allow him inside of the court on one condition. It was that Maheshtas had to pay him half the reward he would get from the emperor. Maheshtas accepted the condition. He entered the court and showed the ring to the king. The king, who recognized Mahesh, asked him, "O young man, what do you expect as a reward from the king of Hindustan?" "Majesty, I expect 50 lashes from you as a reward," replied Maheshtas. The courtiers were stunned. They thought he was mad. Akbar pondered over his request and asked him the reason. Maheshtas said he would tell him the reason after receiving the reward. Then the king whipped him as per his wish. After the 25th lash, Maheshtas requested the king call the guard who was at the gate. The guard appeared before the king. He was happy at the thought that he was called to be rewarded. But to his surprise, Maheshtas told the king, "Jahanpana, this greedy guard let me inside on the condition that I pay him half the reward I would receive from you. I wanted to teach him a lesson. Please give him the remaining 25 lashes so that I can keep my promise to him." The king then ordered that the guard be given 25 lashes along with 5 years' imprisonment. The king was very happy with Maheshtas. He called him Raja Birbal and made him chief minister. Identify the guest. Birbal had been invited to lunch by a rich man. Birbal went to the man's house and found him in a hall full of people. His host greeted him warmly. "I did not know there would be so many guests," said Birbal, who hated large gatherings. "They are not guests," said the man. "They are my employees, all except one man. He is the only other guest here beside you." Then a crafty look came on the man's face. "Can you tell me which of them is the guest?" he asked. "Maybe I could," said Birbal. "Talk to them as I observe them. Tell them a joke or something." The man told a joke that Birbal thought was perhaps the worst he had heard in a long time. When he finished, everyone laughed uproariously. "Well," said the rich man, "I have told my joke. Now tell me who my other guest is." Birbal pointed the man to him. "How did you know?" asked his host, amazed. "Employees tend to laugh at any joke told by their employers," explained Birbal. "When I saw this man was the only one not laughing at your joke, and in fact looked positively bored, I knew at once he was your other guest." Just one question. One day a scholar came to the court of Emperor Akbar and challenged Birbal to answer his questions, and thus prove that he was as clever as people say he was. He asked Birbal, "Would you prefer to answer 100 easy questions, or just one difficult one?" Both the emperor and Birbal had had a difficult day and were impatient to leave. "Ask me one difficult question," said Birbal. "Well then, tell me," said the man, "which came first into the world, the chicken or the egg?" "The chicken," replied Birbal. "How do you know?" asked the scholar, a note of triumph in his voice. "We had agreed you would ask only one difficult question, and you have already asked it." And he and the emperor walked away, leaving the scholar gaping. The Limping Horse. A nobleman's prized racehorse began to limp for no apparent reason. Veterinarians who were called found nothing wrong with the leg, no fracture, sprain, or soreness, and they were baffled. The nobleman finally consulted a sage, a man known for his wisdom. "Has anything changed for the horse in the last few months?" "I changed his trainer a few weeks ago," said the nobleman. "Does the horse get on well with his new trainer?" "Very well. In fact, he's devoted to him." "Does the trainer limp?" Yes, he does." "The reason for the horse's limp is clear," said the sage. "He is imitating his handler. We all tend to imitate those we admire. The company we keep has a great influence on us." The nobleman put the horse in the charge of another trainer, and the horse soon stopped limping. List of blinds. Once King Akbar questioned Birbal if he knows the number of blind citizens of their kingdom. Raja Birbal had requested Akbar to give him a week's time. The next day Raja Birbal was found to be mending shoes in the town market. People were astonished to see Birbal doing such work. Many of them started to question, "Birbal, what are you doing?" Once, when he was asked this question by someone, he started writing something. It continued for a week, when on the 7th day King Akbar himself asked Birbal the same question. Giving him no answer, Birbal reported at court the next day and handed a note over to King Akbar. Akbar read the note when he found that it was the big list of people who were blind. Emperor Akbar was stunned when he found his own name on the list. Angered by this, Akbar asked Birbal the reason for writing his name on the list. Birbal said, "Oh, my Majesty, like all the other people, you also saw me mending slippers, but you still asked me what I was doing. Therefore, I had to include your name too." Akbar started laughing at this, and everyone enjoyed Birbal's sense of humour. Noble Beggar. Emperor Akbar asked Birbal if it was possible for a man to be the lowest and the noblest at the same time. "It is possible." "Then bring me such a person," said the emperor. Birbal went out and returned with a beggar. "He is the lowest among your subjects," he said, presenting him to Akbar. "That might be true," said Akbar, "but I don't see how he can be the noblest." "He has been given the honour of an audience with the emperor," said Birbal. "That makes him the noblest among beggars." Painting by Birbal. Once Akbar told Birbal, "Birbal, make me a painting. Use imagination in it." To which the reply was, "But, Huzur, I am a minister. How can I possibly paint?" The king was angry and said, "If I don't get a good painting by 1 week, then you should be hanged." The clever Birbal had an idea. After 1 week he went to the court, and with him he carried a covered frame. Akbar was happy to see that Birbal had obeyed him until he opened the cover. The courtiers rushed to see what was wrong. What they saw made them feel very happy. At last they would not see Birbal in court. The painting was nothing but ground and sky. There were a few specks of green on the ground. The Emperor angrily told Birbal, "What is this?" To which the reply was, "A cow eating grass, Huzur." Akbar said, "Where is the cow and the grass?" And Birbal told, "I used my imagination. The cow ate the grass and returned to the shed." Peaceful slumbers. Sleep sweet.